is Gary Hougg. I'm 64 years of age. I'd like to tell you about a few things that have happened to me in my lifetime. When I was 15 years of age, I was working on my cousin's farm. The ground was real wet and the corn picker clogged up. I was asked to go underneath it and unclog it. While I was underneath unclogging it, the hydraulic system was leaking that holds the machinery up, and my head was slowly getting crushed. I didn't know this until I was already totally pinned to the ground and started screaming. When my cousin heard my screams and figured out what was going on, he started the equipment back up and raised the corn picker back up off of me, but it was already too late. The side of my head was crushed in 1.5 inches. I ended up with a long trip to the hospital. During the trip, I faded in and out of consciousness. Then I had my life flash in front of me. It seemed to last about 10 seconds. Then the next thing I knew, I was watching my own funeral with myself in the casket. After this, I seen my mom praying for what seemed to be about 20 or 30 seconds. 12 hours later, I woke up in the hospital and I seen the doctor talking to the nurses. I left my eyes closed after that, and I wanted to hear what the doctor had to say. He was telling the nurses to watch me 24/7 until I either awoke or until further instructions. I just laid there with my eyes closed and let it all sink in what had happened to me. So I knew it was a miracle that it was a miracle that I was still alive. But I couldn't tell my mom what happened at first for a long time, because every time I thought of what went on, how much my mom loved me and God loved her, that he performed a miracle for her. Later on in my life, I had an experience with a guardian angel. I was driving down the road with my boys in the backseat of the car. They're around 2 and 4 years of age. I looked off the road onto the radio to tune a station into the radio. When I looked back up at the road, I was in the wrong lane, headed down the road with another car about 50 feet away from me. We were headed for a head-on collision. I just froze in fear and closed my eyes, grabbed the steering wheel. Next thing I knew, the steering wheel was ripped out of my hands, and when I opened my eyes back up, we were back in our lane as if nothing ever happened. So if you think there's no such thing as guardian angels, think again. There are such angels. A little later on in life, when my son was 15 years of age and he had muscular dystrophy, he was in the hospital. And he didn't have much time left, the doctor said. There was maybe 10 of us in the room with him. We were talking to him and each other. And he turned to the wall, toward the wall, and started staring at the wall. He started talking to God. He said things like, "God, I'm sorry, I was a bad boy." A little later he said, "Okay, God, I'm ready. You can take me home now." And a minute or two after that, he said to my mom, "Let go, Grandma. I want to go." And my mom did release his hand, and he passed away, went on to heaven. On the eve of the day he passed away and went to heaven, God granted me a vision. Through his grace, he granted me a vision. I seen his other grandmother sitting on a bench looking up in the sky. When I looked up to see what she was looking at, I seen someone doing somersaults. The vision didn't make any sense to me at first. Then I heard my son's voice saying, "Grandma, look what I can do now." That was the end of the vision, and explained to me that it was my son doing somersaults in the sky with his other grandmother looking at him. Why God would grant me such a vision, I still to this day do not understand. For I already knew he was in heaven. It's just one of the graces of God he bestowed upon me in my walk through life. I didn't choose to have the faith I have and how everything that happened to me happened to me. It was an accident and my head was crushed, but because of my mom's faith and her praying, that he decided to grant her a miracle and let me live. And I hope your walk through life is a little easier than mine has been, but I hope your faith is strengthened by testimony. Thank you.